only underscore wireless. Please make sure you include the underscore, and this is only underscore wireless TV, of course. Please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button for your mans and them. So I think 50 Cent has an eating disorder. It's a theory that I've had for a few years, and I just decided that, there's no better day than today to go ahead and take a deep dive. Kind of shallow, like a medium dive. So if you don't know who 50 Cent is, and I don't know why you wouldn't, but to the modern audience, to the younger audience, you may know the guy as an executive and as a producer and as kind of sort of an actor. But 50 Cent is a platinum plus artist, sold millions of records, sold clothing, sold sneakers, sold even video games at one point. He even sold vitamin water at one point. The man sold a little bit of everything. Apparently cocaine too, crack cocaine. But he's someone that I've followed since high school, made a big impression on me because his album debuted in 2003. There was buzz in 2002, but his album debuted in 2003. I graduated high school in 2003. People say we had a likeness. I don't know how true that is, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a fan of the guy, and I've been following him for years, and I've noticed that his weight tends to fluctuate more so than most entertainers, and it kind of came to a head during the 2021 Super Bowl halftime show. And I don't know, he's a guy that has been known for being an ambassador of fitness and like a symbol of fitness, a sex symbol, if you will, but it wasn't always that way, and he can explain it better than I can.
Hey, in the movie.
Okay, just in the hospital, therapy.
Well, I was in the hospital for about 13 days, and then I left from there. I was staying in the Poconos for a while, and I come back down to go to therapy in New York after I healed up a little bit, and that process the drive was more of a wear and tear on me than the actual therapy itself, because my hip was fractured. It would hurt for me to sit for long periods of time, so I started doing the things that they would do with me in therapy, like with my thumb and stuff, because I have scar tissue around my thumb, limit how much of the actual usage in my hand. So I just started doing the things that I did in therapy by myself while I was in the Poconos, and then the treadmill. And that's how I ended up in the shape I ended up in before I released Get Rich or Die Trying, because I was just actually getting my weight back. I had went down to 167 pounds from 230 to 167 because
So that's very interesting, that he says that he was, 230 and went down to 167. That's a drop of 63 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And it explains a lot, because he was so fit during the rollout for Get Rich or Die Trying, and then had noticeably gained weight going into the rollout for The Massacre, less than 2 years later. Not obese, but he was pudgy. He said it himself. The story behind The Massacre's cover art is that he saw the pictures. He saw, I don't know, he called them the dailies, the negatives, I don't know. But he saw the pictures and was surprised at the way he looked in those pictures. So he personally took a pen or a marker, Sharpie, something. He took something and kind of scribbled these cartoony lines, these comic book lines. He kind of sketched over his photo to get, the look that ended up making it to the shelves. So it's not that the guy didn't know anything about fitness prior to being shot. I know way too much about the 50 Cent story. I was kind of a stan when I was a kid. It was really unhealthy. But he apparently was a Golden Gloves boxer as a kid. And, you could find photos of him around that time period where he looks athletic, looks like a fit kid. But when you look at pictures of him promoting the Power of a Dollar album that never really saw the light of day, but you can find it on that Piff and on YouTube right now. You see a rounder, softer 50 Cent. And then you fast forward to Get Rich or Die Trying, post recovery from getting shot 9 times, infamously, famously, notoriously. And he's a leaner guy. And then there's this cycle of like he gains weight going into the massacre. FYI, or I don't know, BTS. Apparently he did an overseas tour, like an international tour, to promote the massacre. And he said that he didn't trust any of the foreign food. He didn't trust any of that foreign cuisine. So he leaned on McDonald's and the fast food chains he was familiar with. And just, I don't know, ego, I don't know. Maybe he was just high on his own supply, but he didn't notice that he was gaining weight, which is strange, but that kind of gives context to why he was, heavier going into the launch of the massacre. And then you fast forward to the Curtis album, the amusement park video shoot. He was chiseled. Probably during that time, during the Curtis rollout, he was definitely in the best shape he's ever been in his career. To the point where there were steroid abuse or steroid use allegations floating around about 50 Cent that were never substantiated, but they were there. And then he once lost, I think, 50 pounds for a movie role. A movie that he produced. It was through Cheetah Vision Films. A movie, Things Fall Apart, directed by Mario Van Peebles. Apparently the role was like an homage to a friend of his that developed cancer. And, he like shockingly lost 50 pounds and pictures were circulating. And, I guess it was him like dipping his toe into the acting space, the method acting space. But it was a movie that nobody ever saw. So it's kind of crazy that he put his body under that much stress and pressure for something that I don't even know if it has a fucking Rotten Tomatoes score. But, and then you see a cycle of him gaining weight again. I could point out moments here or there, but infamously, the Super Bowl halftime show from 2 years ago, from 2021, when 50 Cent stepped on stage, or when he hung upside down from a beam on stage, on the platform, I should say, it was kind of alarming at just how, because listen, I'm not fat shaming 50 Cent. Weight gain, weight fluctuation is natural. It happens with athletes, on season, off season. It happens with me. I'm an amateur athlete, amateur bodybuilder. And according to some studies, or according to a website I looked up, to be honest, weight fluctuation of about 4 pounds. I think throughout the week, it's normal for a person to fluctuate by about 4 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds. So that's not strange. But for a person to fluctuate upwards of like 20, 30 pounds, it always made, and then again, I guess it's my eyeball being a fitness enthusiast, if you will, being somebody that works out a lot, you just have an eye for it, Well, let me specify, let me elaborate. Being a bodybuilder, because if it's just somebody that goes to the gym and you hit the treadmill and you drink vitamin water, hint, 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 you might not necessarily have an eye for things like that, especially in the black community. Like, we tend to encourage thickness almost to a detriment. Like, there's a very fine line between thick and being like obese, and like a lot of my people walk that line. Like they tiptoe right down that tightrope and that high wire, and it's very, very unhealthy. But as a guy that spent his life bodybuilding and being a fan of the sport, the craft, bodybuilders from the golden age and modern day bodybuilders, you just have an eye for it, and you can look at someone and just see, you can see just how severe the fluctuation really is. And it's always made me wonder, like, with this, what's going on with him? Like, is there something more to it? Is he like an emotional eater behind closed doors? Like, I just don't know what it is. Like, is it the way that he handles stress? 50 Cent, I just know, you don't see it with any other, you just don't see it. You don't see it with most athletes. You don't see it with most male entertainers. It's not something that I can say about other male entertainers or rappers that are known for like fitness, like LL Cool J, Tretch, Nelly, these are our guys, I mean, Busta Rhymes, I wouldn't put 50 Cent in the same boat as Busta Rhymes, but Busta Rhymes is a guy who's like, his weight has fluctuated like severely over the years as well, to the point where he did an interview explaining that, I think he developed sleep apnea, and like he had gained so much weight that it was basically killing him. So he had to lose weight, and he did a few years ago. But it's just something that, leave your thoughts in the comment section. It's just something that I've always thought was interesting, being a fan and just watching it over the years. Like, why does this guy's weight fluctuate so fucking much? I don't know. But only_Wallace TV out.